Hello, everyone. All right, so I decided to do my normal race recap, but instead of writing it, I just figured I'd do a video because, let's be honest, it's easier than typing. And the odds of me misspelling a word while saying it are kind of slim, although I would be known to do something like that. So, yesterday was the Waterfront Challenge, the Louisville Waterfront Challenge. Sorry, trying to get the whole shirt in there. Um, It was downtown Louisville. It's the second year. I ran it last year, its inaugural year, and I'm a big fan of races that take care of the runners. Um, you know, amenities as far as even the way they treat them, different things like a packet pickup, how they treat them during the race, the quality of the volunteers that they get. I'm a big proponent of that, and races that I find, at this point it's been 3 years. Is I think actually I lost count. I think it's somewhere around 40 total races between two full marathons, two half marathons, the Triple Crown 3 times. That's 2 times behind me. Um, Here's the other section of the race wall, so you can see what I'm saying. Oh, I'm sitting at the bar downstairs in the man cave, so that's why you saw the tops of adult beverages. Um, so I'm a big proponent of races that really do go the extra mile for the runners, because on top of financially supporting these races, we're giving our bodies. I mean, there's a certain amount of shock trauma and muscle tears and sprains and everything that happens in the course of a race. I don't care if it's a 5K, I don't care if it's a full marathon, I don't care if it's an ultra marathon. I can only speak from a 5K to a full marathon. I haven't gotten to the ultra yet. And this race last year went above and beyond, as far as what I saw how runners were treated. Even the race itself, they do it in different waves, and I signed up for the glow wave, which is the 9 o'clock wave. It's the last wave. It's nighttime, a little bit more festive, incredibly dark when you're going through the hills at some point. Those little glow bracelets they gave us went from being cute accessory to that's the only way I saw the person in front of me, and that's the only way the person behind me saw me going through some of the parts last night. Um, and the organization that puts on the Louisville Waterfront Challenge really goes above and beyond, I think, to make the participants feel special, no matter what level of fitness or runner you're at. And I think that's a wonderful thing. You really don't see a lot now that running has gotten such a boom, as far as especially this time of year. If you live somewhere that's 4 balanced seasons, this time of year there's at least a 5K every weekend. I mean, somewhere you can't throw a rock somewhere without hitting a finish line somewhere close to you. Uh, and so they've done that. And the guy actually remembered me from last year, because last year when I ran this was my first race coming out of the boot from the foot fracture. When I went to packet pickup, I was on my crutches and boot, and he still remembers me, even when I've seen him at other races, like when I was with my wife Damari and she did the mini marathon. I was at packet pickup. The guy recognized me. He's like, Corey T. Queen. Well, and I was like, dude, how you've got like 5,000 people? He was like, man, you came in with a boot, and all I remember was thinking, there's no way this kid's gonna do this, and you're like, nope, I'll be fine. And I saw you the next day. And I mean, I drove to that race, boot still on, carrying my shoe. I parked. I texted Damari. I said, babe, I'm here, and I was absolutely frightened. Took my boot off, put my shoe on, and I ran most of that race very timidly. Obstacle was about 15, 18 obstacles. Is 5K, and I did it in like 40. I still remember. I think 45, 46. Actually, I think it was 47, 48 minutes. And honestly, the happiness was the fact I was running again. One, I was in a race again. Two, and I had done it. I hadn't really run anything. I mean, I kept my cardio up by exercise bike and still lifting in the gym, but it was really the first time I ran. So the race has always been special in my heart, because they were always cool with me. So I went to packet pickup Friday afternoon, and the guy was there, and he's like, man, he goes, I've been exhausted. I just came from there, because they added like 15, I think I still had like 20 plus more obstacles to this year. So I couldn't even compare time, including, and I'll put some pictures up on below this on my blog page, and you'll see how there at the last obstacle was this 40, and I tried to take a picture when I got there for Damari and the girls, and it wouldn't fit in, and I unless I stood almost, and if you're in from Louisville, you'll understand this. I almost had to go to backing up to almost halfway to Slugger Field to get all this, and this is under the 4th Street Bridge, the new walking bridge, and it was as tall as the bridge when you get to the top. It was this 40-foot water slide, and when you first get there, you're like, what? But, and I'll get to it later, but when you got to it during the race, if I could have kissed a slide and not been stared at a little bit weird, totally would have done it. So I was very excited for this race. Been kind of low key about it, just me, race week, just happy race week when I do my daily quotes, and really just sort of, people have asked me what race is it, and I mention it. I told a lot of people, I've told people that this past year, sign up for it. It's a great race. I'm big about sharing that information with other people that are curious about running or just being in races in general. This is a great race. So, but it does change your dynamics, because when you've run as many races as I have, you're not superstitious, but you have a ritual. You have certain ways that you do things the night before. You have certain ways that you arrange your bib on your shirt. You have certain clothes that you wear. You have certain ways you lace your shoes. Okay, so maybe it is a little bit superstition combined with a sprinkle of OCD, and by sprinkle I mean huge. And it's awesome. It relaxes you. It helps you get to the point where you get to the race, and that's running one foot in front of the other is the only thing you want to think about. You don't have to want to worry about, oh man, I laced my shoes too tight. I'm wearing the right shirt. Do I have the right socks? You do all that stuff. So the morning of races, at least for me, it's automatic. It's alarm goes up, shower, and yes, I'm that kid. I'm the one that showers before running and after running. I'm the one that showers before the gym and after gym. A little bit OCD. Did I mention that? A little bit. So, I did my, but the hard thing is about this race being that I wasn't running till 9 o'clock at night. I have the day before, the night of, and then the whole Saturday to sort of not get so far into my head, but still remember, hey, don't get up and let's do my 2-a-day workout, because we're going to do this. So I workout Friday, was like, okay, I'm going to get a good hard, we did a class, did a good hardcore upper body workout. And then Saturday morning I said, okay, I'm going to get up and do an upper body workout, because I don't want, it's an obstacle race. And I knew I was going to need to do like push-ups and jumping over picnic tables and jumping over the safety signs and all this, and upper body and stuff I would need. So I was like, let me not go in so my muscles are just so tight. I got a good upper body workout in. Come to find out later, that might not have been the smartest thing. And so I had all day Saturday. We had did our normal thing, had gone to the store, had taken the girls out to a comic superhero thing at a toy store in one of the local malls, which was really kind of cool. The girls got face painted and balloon animals, and so I'm kind of going through it going through it, still being an active husband, still being an active father, and in the back of my mind I'm like, it's X amount of T-minus hours until race time. All right, let's just enjoy the time. So we finally got home, got situated, and I knew in my head, from a time standpoint, my race was at 9. I was going to leave house about 7, just because they want you there like an hour before you heat with parking. So I knew about 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock was my, if I had a 9 a.m. race, 5 o'clock was the time I was getting up in the morning. So it's probably the best way to describe it, just 12 hours removed. That was my mindset, was the switch was flipped. So I about 5 o'clock snuck up on me, because we were playing and being silly upstairs with the girls, and had a really good time, which was a great mindset to sort of get ready for a race. You're not stressed. So 5 o'clock came, and I said, all right, it's time to start mentally getting there and really start. I'm big on the mental aspect of running, exercising. The 40 pounds I've lost since New Year's Eve, as far as weight loss and everything else, as far as is mental acuity and visualization. Because I don't think, if your mind can achieve it, if your mind can conceive it, you can achieve it. So the first step of that is your mind has to conceive it. So I'm thinking about, okay, are there any little twinges or injuries that I need to hit the KT tape up with? Are there do I need to stretch? Is there anything feeling tight? How's cardio feeling? How's the breathing going? And I really had taken up yoga recently, so I was really practicing a lot of my breathing techniques actually that I've been learning from yoga, and that helped to just, as opposed to sort of walk around like this for an hour and a half, sort of just, let's do what we do. This is what we do. This is what we do. We train, we run. And again, this is also my first race since having lost the weight, and I've picked up some blazing times since I've been losing the weight. But anybody can tell you, running on your own and running in race day is such a different beast. So, got dressed, had given the girls a kiss, and they helped me because I had gotten some socks. They helped me pick out the right socks to wear, and given the girls a kiss, giving my wife a kiss, and I said, okay, I'll text you when I got there. So I get there, and I mean, as soon as you get near it, you just you're getting close because you start seeing people walking towards you, and we're runners. We know we're all wearing shorts and shirt, and everyone's got this. I had my orange Under Armour compression socks, long socks. We know, we got the bib on. But I tell you what had me just, I don't want to use the word intimidated, but intimidated was everybody I saw wearing a medal that was coming from the race, that's going obviously to their car, looked exhausted. I mean, they looked beat down, tired, half covered in grass. Some people sporting some nice purple bruises. Luckily, I can't really sport a purple anything. And I mean, just looking like, because normally you see people, if I'm not the fastest person, I'm the slowest person. So when I get to finish, if I'm getting towards the finish line, and that's a wonderful thing about the running community, you start getting towards the finish line, you will have runners that have come back to help cheer on those people because they know what it's like. And usually people have their medals, or if it's a smaller distance race, they've got whatever food it is, and we are quick to eat after crossing the finish line. And they're cheering you on, but they look excited, and they want you to have that feeling that they have because they've accomplished it. Not last night, because everybody I saw, and I texted my wife and I said, people look, and I mean, I've seen people come back from a marathon and cheer people on. And even then, they got the medal, and they're sweating and everything, and everyone's like, "Come on, you can do it! You're almost there, and you're so close." And it's that love. This was like, I'm done. I am going the hell home right now. And I told my wife, I said, I've never seen this in all Warrior Dash. Even the Warrior Dash people were sitting out, everyone's half covered in mud and drinking beer, and everybody's still cheering people on at the finish line. This was like, nope. So get there. Park the car, finally. That took a good 20 minutes. Walking down, and it's amazing. Park the car, walk down, felt like it was a 40-second walk. Because, you got that pre-race energy going. I get there. I caught a little video for Instagram, took some pictures, sent to Damari, and then posted those. And you see people just, smiling. But this also was a first for me. So towards when you come up to the plaza, to the area of the waterfront bridge, the 4th Street Bridge, sorry. That's towards the end where the last couple of obstacles are, and one was cornhole, that when you missed, you had to do 10 burpees. I love burpees. I don't love burpees at the end of my 5K, but I love burpees. And then you come around after that, and then you come around for the slide, and you as soon as you come out of the slide, you turn, and I mean the finish line's right there. So, but what blew my mind was, as you're watching this and you're watching the course, everyone is so exhausted, they're walking. I got there at 7:30. My race was at 9. I can count on one hand the number of people I saw running towards the end of that race because they were so exhausted. And met up with a friend of mine, Allison, and her husband, Daniel. And Allison didn't run to go do something. I'm talking to Daniel. I said, because he'd asked me what a burpee was. I said, look. And I said, and he looked at me and goes, what's wrong? I said, this is the first race I've seen that towards the finish, everybody's walking. I said, they must be exhausted. And he goes, no, I don't think. He goes, and he realized he thought they were spectators. He's like, no, those are the runners in the race. He goes, you got to be tired if you get to the finish line and you're not running, because that's the time you're like, I'm done. I'm out. So sat there, and I knew that our wave, the 9 o'clock glow wave, was sold out. So I knew that was a good, probably about 150, 200 people. But as I took a couple of pictures, even sent them to Damari, and it was showing Allison and Daniel before, because I take them before they got there, was the 7:45 to, and there were 15 increments, 7:45 to our wave, 9 o'clock. There may have been a total of 30 people in each wave. And even then, I'm probably over exaggerating. Now, it was enough I could get in one shot of all the people in a wave and the start line, and not having to back up. I mean, standing right there. And I was telling, but I knew our wave was sold out. And sure enough, everyone that was hovering around there, when the 9 o'clock wave started to line up, the last wave of the night, they all start coming down to the start line. So met up with Allison and Daniel. Allison is wonderful, positive-minded person who we've become friends really off the internet and have become friends in real life. And she's a foodie, so I actually follow her to find out where to go eat in Louisville. And her husband, great guy, dude, is like you stand next to him, like, all right, I'm gonna flex a little bit longer because he's a great guy though. And he was asking me some questions about putting my personal trainer and dietitian hat on, and he was asking me some questions, and it was cool. And so we lined up, and Allison wanted us to get towards the front, and which is new for me too. I've never been that way, but I was like, you know what, cool, whatever. So the race start, lining up, turning on the Nike running, hit the Moto Active watch, got it going on. Looks like I got a message too. Taking a lot of steps today, did yard work. So we start going. Boom, out the gate. I'm like, man, I'm feeling good. Of course, make a left, got some stairs. Nothing like running up stairs. And those are the wide stairs that you can't just run or take two at a time. Or at least I can't, because I would have just wiped out. So get those. First obstacle, feeling good. First stretch of just running, outside of obstacles, I felt pretty good. But I knew I was going faster than I normally do in a race. But anyone will tell you this: you run races. I have my own little Coreyisms. The first mile of any race you're in is totally what I call race turbo. It is race turbo driven. If you are if you're a 10-minute mile average pace per mile runner, your first mile is going to be like 7 minutes. And I'm not kidding. And at some point, you're going to feel like your lungs are going to jump out of you, tap you on the ear and go, what are you doing? And if you're, it happens to us all. You get the crowd's going and you get hyped, and I'm 40, so for y'all that are old enough, you're like $6 Million Man. You can even hear the go ahead and laugh at me, I don't care. And y'all, and I've done it almost every single race. I've gotten better about it. And I even, when I was training my wife during the Triple Crown this year to get her ready for her first half marathon, I told her the same thing. I was like, and I even let her learn on her own that first 5K. Race turbo will expose you quickly. It will make liars of us all. So I was, that first bit of running, I said, man, I feel really good, but I know I'm going faster. I look over my watch, and at that point I'm logging a 7-minute 12-minute mile. In a race, I've never done that. In a race, I've never done it. Since I've lost the weight, yes. My fastest mile is actually a little under 6, about 5 something. And I just logged a 19-minute 5K the other day, which was kind of cool. So I thought, okay, the fitness, the weight loss, the adjustment, the training is really starting to pay off, because there was no burning in my lungs. I was keeping a 7.5 minute pace comfortably. So I'm running. We get, we're doing the things, and we're doing it was such a change from last year, because last year's race was the night before the color run. So, and it was right there as well. So we couldn't do a lot of that stuff because they were set up for the color run next day. Well, now there's no color run. There was no color run today. What would be today? So we got a chance to go all the way through the waterfront. And it was awesome, because it was like, we got a chance to run. And last year you had to pick up one of the obstacles. You pick up a tire, and they had tires anywhere from like a spare tire to a truck tire. And last year it was like, and I remember Allison and I were talking about, you carried it, I think maybe 50 feet. Because it was really quick. It was sort of, you picked up the bottom of the hill, you ran up a hill, you dropped it off, and you were gone. No. This year was you picked up the bottom of the hill, you ran up the hill, you made a right, you went straight, you made a right, you took a left at Albuquerque, and you kept going down the hill. And I promise you, it was a good 200 feet we ran with that tire. And at one point, I was Daniel. I said, not only was it not smart for me to do my workout this morning, but this tire's starting to get on my damn nerves. He said, yeah, same thing with me. So we finally got there. It was one of those we had on our shoulders, and we both started to run. And I mean, literally, we took like 2 steps, looked at each other, was like, nope. We was walking, having a good old time. Allison was speed walker. She was we had to run to catch up with her actually towards the end. So we dropped it off, kept going. And again, I'm paying attention to my running part is because I wanted to understand how my improvement has gone. And I guess that was just the OCD part of me to understand, okay, was this just training time? Have this been getting better? Would I be able to do this under the bright lights? Would I be able to do this? And so I'm running. And even then, at one point, I remember I felt like I had slowed down and I was running. And even my slow run was a 9-minute mile, which compared to the last race I did by myself, which if it isn't last year's Waterfront Challenge, I'm not sure what it was, but I'm looking at the wall trying to see if I have anything up here. But, because I know I did Thanksgiving run with Ayana, our oldest daughter. I did, obviously, the Triple Crown with Damari. So I'm not very sure my last run by myself was. It may have been last year. Obviously, last year's Waterfront Challenge. But anyway, so I'm doing that, and, it was cool. And I felt, like I said, my slow run, I was still doing a 9-minute pace. Still wasn't dying, wasn't feeling like I couldn't, I had a kick left. So, chugging along and climbing over the flatbed trucks. And these bad boys were higher than they were last year. There was only 2 last year. There were 6 of them this year. And they were, after a while, it was cute and fun at first. And then I was like, I'm tired of this. Unless one of these bad boys transforms into Optimus Prime and says, Corey, let's roll out, I'm done with flatbed trucks. So we finally get towards the end where you get to jump over the hoods of the cars, which, if you're like me and you ever watch Dukes of Hazzard, is just fun, nostalgic for that reason alone. And I know it, and they get to the cornhole thing, and I at this point my arms were like this, and I grabbed the cornhole thing, and I threw it and started doing burpees because I knew it wasn't going in. And that's why I was like a couple ahead of Allison and Dana. Like, how'd you finish? I'm like, I threw it as soon as I left my hand. I started doing burpees. I knew it wasn't going in. Turn the corner. And, you got the climb up the thing. I tapped into my inner Spider-Man, and I don't think I ever bent over. I was just running up that bad boy. Got to there. You step out. Water's coming down. It felt so nice. Took it. And someone had told Allison, and Allison told me, if you want to not get splashed a lot, keep your legs together because the force of it, you'd be pushing the water to the side. Yeah, I got to use a hands visual. So I had remembered that, and I went down. Somehow, that had me literally one butt cheek on the wall, one butt cheek here as I'm coming down. So I said, I need to adjust the torque in this bad boy. So I open my legs a little. So then I kind of sweep this way. Well, by the time I hit the ground, because this is 40 feet, by the time I hit the ground, I did a complete 360 sitting down. And I was giggling like a little kid. The guy was like, he's like, you've been waiting to do it all day. I was like, man, this was awesome. Get off. Turn the corner, run, get to the finish line. Got my medal. Daniel and Allison were behind me, and I felt good. I mean, I was exhausted. Let's not trip about this. I was tired. I was just flat out tired. But it was a good tired. The double half marathon training because I'm doing 2 half marathons. One's in October, one's in November. They're 2 weeks apart. If you remember, I did that for my first 2 marathons 2 years ago. I'm doing those same 2 half marathons this year, and that training starts next month. So this was probably the last fun race before negative splits and fartleks and all the hell are the doors open? Y'all heard that, right? Cool. And all these other serious terms come to my head, but so this was fun, and I was soaked. And all I had in my head the whole day, because I had been to the Waterfront Challenge website, is there were food trucks, the best food trucks in the world. And I'm going to say that right now. They had, they're in Louisville, and they were there. And there was this one that I wanted. It was Johnny's Diner cart, and it had this Philly cheesesteak, but I didn't want cheese on it, and grilled onions, and these French fries. that, I'm not kidding, was the bomb. And I ate that and I texted Damari and I told her, I said it was awesome. I said I'm headed to the car. Here's the thing. When you're walking to a race, you could park 3 counties over and it feels like you're at that race in a second. At the end of the day, when you're tired and you're headed back to the car, I actually kind of hoped somebody was going to stop and try to mug me, because then I would have asked dude for a piggyback ride the rest of the way to the car, because that's how long it felt like I was walking. I walked so far, I honestly at one point thought I have gone, and I'm pressing the button on the keychain. I'm like, have I gone too far? I mean, if I kept going, again, if you're from Louisville, you know what I'm saying, where I'm at the 4th Street, the bridge, the new walking bridge. If I kept going, I'm pretty sure I was about a second away from Zorn Avenue. To be honest with you, to give you an idea, it really felt like I was walking back. I'm like, I did not walk this far, and I'm looking at landmarks, going, I remember passing this, but all that racial adrenaline is done. I was like, man, this is crazy. I'd take a cab or something. So on the way home, and I got home and I took a shower and I sat down and had a beer. It's the first beer I had in like ever. And I was just like, Demar's like, how do you feel? And I said, I feel good, and I'm always very low key when I'm proud of myself. I just always have been. I'm not really pat a guy on the back. I took my picture with my medal, which is just beautiful. Took my picture of my medal. And I posted that on my various social networking websites, and I was good. And I'm not really one to say I did it or here was my time or whatever. I mean, I was proud of the fact that I know when I looked at my time, I was a couple of minutes under, less than what I ran it last year, and I said this, which normally isn't a big deal, but I was a couple of minutes under what I did last year, and they added like 20 more obstacles. That's a difference I'm happy and I'm proud of. And my fitness was up. Now, mind you, rule number one after a race, and I've told this to everyone else, don't take hot showers, because the blood pooling, which is the circulatory system, your blood will start to collect in the sore, the little micro tears from running, the little sore areas that you have, and it actually makes the soreness worse, makes the stiffness worse. And I took a hot shower because at this point I was soaking wet, cold, had been in the car, and I just was, so I was instantly sore. And this morning I woke up and I was sore, and I then went out and did like 2 hours of yard work to help break up that blood pooling in the veins and arteries. So, I mean, I feel good. I got, like I said, got my medal, wearing my race shirt, typical day after a race for me. Medal go up on the wall. I'll put my bib up there. I'll put one of the pictures up and put it in a frame, and the shirt will go when I'll take a picture of that one out of the stack of race shirts that I have. One day I need to really get those made into a quilt because I never wear them. But it was fun. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I highly recommend, if you are in or near the Ville, the Louisville area. I mean, I signed up for this year. Registration I think opened in November, and I literally signed up that day. When this race opens up, sign up to do it. I think it's like $30. It's really not that expensive. It's a ton of fun. How many 5Ks are you going to leave with a medal? It's a lot of fun. They treat runners very well. They're very considerate. The volunteers were absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you got to realize by the time we run at 9 o'clock, some of these volunteers have been there for at least 12 hours. Supportive. Not just, hey, here's some water or whatever, but they were fully supportive. They were cheering you on, and it was awesome. So I'm going to wrap this up. It's about 30 minutes now, and I'm, if you're still listening, thank you. But seriously, it was fun. It was a little proud moment for me, and I'm ready for training to start next month. I really am. I'm aiming for a sub 2 hour half marathon. I got the first half marathon I'm running with Damari, big hit, and that's another great race that does a wonderful job. They give massages to the runners after race. You end at home plate in Slugger Field here in Louisville, which is just phenomenal into itself. And then 2 weeks later, I'm doing the LSC Louisville Sports Commission half marathon, and that's the one that I'm aiming for a sub 2 hour finish, which my best, the 2 or 2.5 hours. So I think I legitimately could take a half hour off my time. But thank you for listening, and hope you guys are having had a wonderful weekend. If you want to hit me up, as always, stay good.